At first, childcare sounds like a schedule. Who watches the baby on Monday? Who does pickup on Thursday? Who can leave work if daycare calls at 2:12 p.m.? Then the numbers arrive. $800 a month for part-time care, $2,000 for full-time, more than that for a nanny share. And in the most expensive cities, the annual cost starts looking less like a bill and more like a second salary disappearing. You thought becoming a parent would change your sleep, your home, your patience. You did not know it could change the math of whether going back to work still makes sense. Level 1. The Grandparent Plan. You are the 31-year-old project manager in Denver who just came back from parental leave, has a baby who still smells like milk after every nap, a mother-in-law who says she is happy to help, and a work calendar that now depends on whether grandma can drive across town on Thursday morning. At first, this feels like the miracle version of childcare. No waitlist, no tuition portal, no director named Melissa sending an email about next year's rate adjustment, just family. You drop the baby off at 8:15 in the morning. The living room is warm. Morning news is playing low on the TV. There is a burp cloth folded on the arm of an old recliner, a bottle sitting beside the remote, and your father-in-law saying, "Don't worry, we remember how to do this." And you are grateful, deeply grateful. You know some parents would give anything for this. Then the invisible cost starts to show. Grandma does not like the nap schedule you follow on the app. Grandpa says, "We raised kids without all these rules, and you turned out fine." Your spouse wants to set boundaries, but nobody wants to offend the people saving you almost $2,000 a month. You feel grateful and trapped in equal measure, because the first version of childcare may be free, but it is not neutral. It comes with history. It comes with opinions. It comes with the strange feeling of being an adult who still has to ask permission from your own family. Free childcare does not show up on your bank statement, but it can still collect interest. Level 2, the part-time daycare parent. You are the parent who finally gets a part-time daycare spot. 3 days a week, pays around $800 a month, labels tiny bottles with blue painter's tape, and pretends a full-time job can fit neatly inside a part-time childcare schedule. On paper, it sounds like the responsible compromise. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at daycare, Tuesday and Thursday with grandparent, spouse, or whoever can rearrange their life with the least damage. The infant room is smaller than you expected. There are cubbies with printed name tags, a camera in the corner of the ceiling, and a teacher named Ms. Carla who already knows which baby needs a pacifier before nap. You stand in the doorway with the diaper bag on your shoulder, trying not to stare too long when your child starts crying. You tell yourself this is good. Socialization, routine, a few stable workdays. But part-time care does not create part-time expectations. Your 9 a.m. meeting becomes an 8:30 meeting because drop-off takes longer than you planned. Your 3:30 call ends with you typing, "Sorry, have to jump," while your manager is still talking. A coworker without kids sends, "Can you review this quickly?" And you look at the daycare app, the bottle parts in the sink, and the clock moving faster than it should. You feel responsible and unreliable in equal measure. You are still a project manager. You still own timelines, budgets, and deliverables. But now your life is divided into tiny blocks of borrowed time, and every block ends with someone needing something from you. Part-time care does not make work part-time. It makes guilt full-time. Level 3, the full-time daycare bill. You are the parent who upgrades to full-time daycare, opens the tuition email at the kitchen counter, sees a number between $1,600 and $2,200 a month, and realizes your baby now has a monthly cost that looks suspiciously like a second rent. This is the level where childcare stops being a logistics problem and becomes a financial identity crisis. You are at the kitchen table at 11:30 p.m. The baby is asleep. Your spouse is half asleep on the couch. Your laptop is open to a spreadsheet called Household Budget, which used to feel organized and now feels like evidence. One tab has rent or mortgage. One has groceries. One has car insurance, health insurance, student loans, retirement contributions, diapers, formula, and the daycare invoice due on the 1st. You make $78,000 a year. Before the baby, that sounded like adulthood. Not rich, but stable, responsible, enough to order takeout without checking the app first. Now you are doing the math after taxes, after benefits, after everything that disappears before money becomes usable. And full-time daycare takes a bite so large that your paycheck starts to feel less like progress and more like a pass-through account. This is not just your private panic. Childcare. Aware of America data cited by Axios showed that average annual daycare tuition for two children, an infant and a toddler, reached $28,168 in 2024, close to the $30,000 number many families start seeing when they have more than one child or live in a high-cost area. That number changes the conversation at home. You and your spouse do not argue because you do not love each other. You argue because both of you are tired, both of you feel trapped, and both of you are silently calculating whose job is more worth it after childcare. You feel productive and financially erased in equal measure. You are going to work. You are doing the responsible thing. But every month, the reward for working arrives already spoken for. This is the level where work stops feeling like income and starts feeling like damage control. From below, the next level looks like relief. A nanny share sounds more flexible. Premium childcare sounds more secure. But in this ladder, higher does not always mean freer. Sometimes it only means the same anxiety with a larger invoice, a more complicated contract, and fewer people willing to admit they are scared. You are not climbing out of pressure. You are buying a different shape of it. Level 4, the nanny share negotiator. You are the parent who joins a nanny share with another family, pays more than $2,500 a month, meets a nanny named Anna in a coffee shop with 2 strollers parked beside the table, and tells yourself this is expensive because it will finally make life manageable. Daycare has worn you down. The sick policy, the pickup deadline, the infant room closure, the email that begins with, "out of an abundance of caution," which always means someone's workday is about to collapse. So now you are in a coffee shop in Denver with your spouse, another couple, and Anna, who is calm in a way that makes you trust her immediately. She has references, a notebook, and clear terms, guaranteed hours, paid holidays, sick days, payroll backup, expectations. On the table are 2 cold lattes, a teether shaped like a giraffe, and a printed spreadsheet that makes 4 adults look like they are negotiating a small merger. And in a way, you are. A nanny share gives you what daycare could not. Fewer children, more flexibility, no hallway full of cubbies. Number 5:45 p.m. sprint through traffic while the center's lights are already being turned off. But then the fragility appears. The other family wants to change Fridays. Anna needs a week off because her mother is sick. One baby gets hand, foot, and mouth. Someone disagrees about screen time, snacks, naps, taxes, cameras, or whether the nanny should drive. You feel upgraded and exposed in equal measure. Daycare had rigid rules, but it had an institution behind it. Nanny share has softness, intimacy, and customization. But when one person is unavailable, the entire structure can shake. Convenience is not the same as stability. Sometimes it is just a softer way to fall apart. Level 5, the premium childcare household. You are the parent looking at premium childcare in a high-cost city, comparing a center with language immersion extended hours, and an immaculate lobby against a number that starts to resemble a second salary, and wondering when care became something only the already secure could afford without fear. Maybe you are still in Denver looking at the highest-end options. Maybe your spouse has a job offer in Boston, Seattle, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., or New York. Maybe a friend sends you their childcare quote, and for a second, you think it must include college. The lobby is bright. The door has secure entry. The director uses phrases like developmental curriculum, low ratios, enrichment, and extended care. There is an app for nap times, photos, diaper changes, and meals. The art wall looks like a private school brochure, except some of the artists cannot speak in full sentences yet. You want to hate it, but you cannot. The teachers seem kind. The rooms are clean. The children look safe. And safety is the most powerful sales pitch in the world when the customer is a terrified parent. Then comes the price. This is where the story becomes more complicated than daycare is too expensive. The parents are paying more than they can comfortably afford, but the workers are not exactly getting rich. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median hourly wage for childcare workers was $15.41 in May 2024. That is the part that makes the math feel almost cruel. Parents can be overcharged. Workers can be underpaid. Centers can still be fighting rent insurance staffing ratios, licensing turnover, and burnout. Everyone can be squeezed at once. You feel successful and cornered in equal measure. At this level, you are no longer simply choosing childcare. You are choosing which version of your adult life gets to continue. Before the baby, you and your spouse stood in a store aisle looking at crib strollers, tiny socks, and a baby monitor with more features than your first apartment. Someone asked, "Have you figured out childcare yet?" And you smiled, because back then it sounded like one more thing on the checklist. You said, "We'll figure it out." Now, that sentence feels different. Figure it out might mean calling grandma again. It might mean working at 11:30 p.m. It might mean one paycheck flows straight to daycare. And sometimes in America, we'll figure it out means one parent quietly leaves the workforce. Childcare is the bill that turns ambition into arithmetic. When people say childcare is a personal choice, which part of that choice are they refusing to see? And in your household, what feels heavier right now, rent, mortgage, or childcare?